Hey everyone, my name is Chuck Jackson. Welcome to Division 4 Live. I am the 4th Division Commander. Tonight on 4th Division Live, we have actually a submitted question. So let me get my screen up here real quick. All right. And the submitted question is, tips to identify types of leadership to get the best of them to run a unit and more effective unit. Well, I'll try to answer that. The thing I want to really show tonight is that a lot of times we try to pigeonhole people into styles of leadership. What do I mean by styles of leadership? Well, we all know, we've heard these autocratic, democratic, transactional, authoritarian, on and on, right? Well, those are styles of leadership. I'll explain what I mean. If I go hiking, I'm right here by the foothills here in Colorado Springs. If I go hiking, I'm going to wear hiking boots, wool socks, loose cargo pants, maybe an underlayer, and a t-shirt or a polo or something else like that, my water bowl. Now, that is an appropriate style for that situation. If I wore that style of clothing at, let's say, the ALC banquet, that would be a bad thing. ALC banquet, the style of clothing might be better served if I was wearing a dark suit or a tux or something else like that. And conversely, tux wouldn't be very good to hike in, right? So let me give you another example of that. Let's say you're laying down on the ground and you're bleeding and you're starting to get that tunnel vision and everything's getting foggy on the side and you're probably going to think you're going to die. And I come up and I run up and you see my face and you think, oh, finally we have some help. And I sit down and say, okay, everybody, I'd like to take a vote. I'd like to vote on whether or not and how we should help this person. Joe Smuckatelli, what do you think would be the appropriate? No, just because it's democratic style leadership doesn't mean it's appropriate for that situation. No, you want me full on authoritarian. You go down 911. You go to the road and direct EMS in. You go get me a coffee at 7-Eleven. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be short. I'm going to be blunt, and I'm going to be giving orders like there's no tomorrow. It'll be full on authoritarian. Now that style of leadership would not be appropriate in a staff meeting. In a staff meeting, I want it democratic. I'm not going to put out my opinion first because I don't want to infect or influence anybody else's opinion. I want some healthy debate. So I want everybody to agree on it. I want to get everybody's buy-in. So maybe a more democratic style of leadership would be more appropriate. So the styles of leadership are just tools, and the principles and everything run all the way through that. Leadership by example and autocratic, democratic, transactional, authoritarian, whatever, still applies. So the traits and principles are still the same. So a lot of times when people say what style, it's really a philosophy. Now, I'm John Maxwell trained. I've been certified by him to lead, teach, and coach John Maxwell philosophy of leadership. And a lot of that's also rooted and grounded in servant leadership philosophy. So I want to present the levels of leadership, and I'm going to go over them briefly. You can always go to YouTube and search those and watch John teach it. But I really want to give you the levels of leadership. Now, the first thing I believe is leadership is influence. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's, are you influencing people or not? Now, we've had great leaders that have been bad people in history, no doubt, but they still exerted influence, right? And then how you influence others involves wisdom and involves skill. So these 5 levels of leadership, I think they're going to help you develop maybe a little bit more wisdom, maybe a little bit more skill on where you're at. The first level, the bottom level of leadership, is called positional leadership. It's the level of rights. People follow you because they have to. So let's say I'm a corporal. I have all the rights and authorities of a corporal. I'm your boss. I have all the rights and authority of your boss. Whether you like them or not, you still have to follow them because, usually they have your paycheck over your head. Now, in this level of leadership, your influence does not extend beyond your job. But unfortunately, this is the most common level of leadership today. Isn't that sad? There's just nothing there. It's that gray area between leadership and management, really. Now, I will tell you, a new staff member, a new young Marine comes into your unit, you're automatically at this level because they don't know you. You have at the most 3 months to push your leadership level with that individual or that group of individuals from a 1 to a 2, because we are in a volunteer organization and nobody's getting paid, well, except headquarters, of course, but that's their job. But for division commanders and everybody that supports this program, regimental, battalion, unit staff, everything else like that, our pay raise would be 0.0 and our pay loss would be 0.0. We do this volunteer. So there's nothing that you can hold over their head. So if you don't push this up to the next level of leadership, you're going to be riding that drama llama for a while, because that's what's going to happen. Now, the second level of leadership is called permission. It's a level of relationships. People follow you because they want to. They don't have to, but they want to. In a volunteer organization, we have to get people to this level. They'll follow you beyond what your authority extends. And if you can't get them up to that level, I can almost guarantee you your unit's going to fold, or you'll get voted out, or there'll be special elections. Something's going to happen. You have to, in relationships are a two-way street. You both have to reach out. You have to reach out and make a concerted effort to develop a relationship with your staff. If you're a UC, if you're a staff member, it's vice versa. You have to develop a relationship with your peers, and you have to develop a relationship with your UC and XO. The third level is where servant leadership starts coming into play. It's called the production level. It's the level of results. People follow you because what you have done. This is where you've had an impact in the organization. Your accomplishments are what people think about when they see you. It's on their forefront. People sense a level of, success, if you want to put it that way. Most people will like you, and they're going to like what you're doing. Problems are fixed really easy because it just requires very little effort because of the momentum to fix problems. The relationships are developed. You guys are accomplishing things. Your young Marines are going to spaces. They're getting promoted. They're contributing and attending, battalion and regimental, maybe even division functions. You can have a well-run unit. Now, the fourth level is called people development. And this is called the level of reproduction. And people follow because what you have done for them. So you understand the what's in it for me thing. So as you know your staff, you know what goals they have, you take an interest in it, you help them out, right? The servant type leadership. Long range growth is occurring, right? The unit drills aren't going from week to week and you're pulling something out of your back pocket, but you actually have a plan, maybe a 6-month plan, maybe a year plan going on. The unit will survive because the unit leaders, a UC is training his next UC, they'll take over the unit, and the XO is training the next XO, they'll take over the unit. That's paramount, and it doesn't happen enough in this day and time. I mean, battalions crumble because units crumble, of course, because there's nobody to step up. We've closed units because nobody was trained, nobody had the confidence, and the UC didn't take the time to train them. And so when the UC walked away for whatever reason, maybe, a new job or they moved or whatever, the unit just crumbled. And battalions have crumbled. And in 4th Division, I've actually had a regiment crumble because the leadership didn't train the next generation of leaders. You have to think about that if there's going to be survivability in the unit or in the battalion or in the regiment. And the next level is called personhood. It's a level of respect. People follow because of who you are and what you are, your values. There's handfuls of people maybe that actually get to this level. If you think of the Marine Corps as an organization, now they're all dead, most of them. You got, Chesty Puller and Dan Daly and Archibald Henderson. Those are alive, maybe James Mattis, General Mattis. Each organization has that, and there's some that have impact nationally or even impact and left a legacy for the whole world. These leaders are hard to come by. It usually doesn't happen, but it is the 5th level of leadership, and there's nothing wrong with striving towards that. But what I ask you to do is gain some self-awareness and think of, you might be at a different level with each different member of your staff. But man, if you're at level 1 with one of your members of your staff, you got to fix that. You got to fix that now and figure out why and start working towards getting your leadership into the permission level and then getting your unit into the production level and then start developing people. That's true leadership. You can't manage that. That is giving of yourself. That's servant leadership. That's putting it out there. So that's really what I wanted to share with you today. Again, give me thumbs up. I appreciate the feedback and the comments. And if you got more questions, put those down. This broadcast came out of a question. And I love that because this will keep this stuff going. So that'll give me an opportunity to give back to the division. Now, what's cool is Sunday at 7 Mountain Time, we have Kaylin Longren on from headquarters. She's a database manager. She's going to show us how to make appropriate DDR entries and why they have to be that way and some of the impact even on the young Marines after they leave the young Marines, if those entries are not up to snuff. She'll also be available to answer some questions. So as she's talking, if you have questions and so on like that, you can send them to me now so she can prep, or even during the broadcast, she can send me some questions. So I'm excited because I know the database is one thing everybody wants to know how they can be better or do better or something else like that. So I'm really thankful for Kaylin because she's on, it's 7 Mountain Time, so it's like 9 o'clock her time, to take the time out to help 4th Division get up to snuff and educate us, really. So thanks again, and thanks for listening, and Gunny's out.